Okay guys, we're gonna start today putting together our wreath, and the first thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stain my hoop. You don't have to though, but I want black, a black hoop, and so I'm using Minwax in ebony. And I always stain with gloves. I buy these kitchen gloves for like $1.25, and I probably use them I don't know, maybe like 8 to 10 times, and then they end up cracking, so I have to throw them away. But I definitely suggest that you protect your hands and you protect your work surface, because if you stain and you get it on your table, it's hard to get out. So whenever I stain, I always use a t-shirt to apply, and all I do, it's just a little square of a t-shirt. See these right here? All I do is I dip it in, put a little bit on, and rub it on the wood. And I'm just going to go around both hoops doing this. And especially when you get to where you have most of your hoop done, you're going to see why you really need to have your gloves on, because you'd be getting stain all over your hands. And I am going to do the inside of my hoop, although yeah, definitely do all sides of your hoop, the inside, the outside, and then the sides. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn the video off for a little bit, because I'm not going to make you watch me do this whole thing. So you guys go ahead, and if you want to stain your hoop, go ahead and do that, and when we're done, we'll get together. I do like to see you let this dry for, I'd say, an hour. Just because you will still get stain on your hands. And one thing that's helpful is after you go over it with this, give it a second to dry, and then go over it with a dry piece of t-shirt. Okay? And that just kind of gets off excess. So I'll see you on the other side, guys. So we got our hoop situated, whether or not you're going to stain it. Mine is stained and it's drying right now. Let me just show you, these are the flowers and the greenery that I picked out. So, I picked out ranunculus. I really like those. And I'm not usually a purple lover, but a friend of mine, the other day we did these hoops in a class, and a friend of mine did the purple and white flowers with the black hoop, and I just really loved how it looked, so I decided to go with it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to trim, oops, I didn't mean to do that actually. We're going to trim all of our greenery and our flowers with wire cutters. You can also use pruning shears, those work just fine. And I always suggest that you start by cutting your pieces long rather than really short, because you can always trim later. For example, like, don't cut a flower here. We're going to want to cut the flower all the way down here. And I think later we'll definitely end up trimming some off these flowers, because it's too long. But I always like to go, you're better off having too much length than being too short. And then I think I'll use some of these leaves, and so I'm going to go ahead and trim off these leaves. And at this point, I think I'm just going to be quiet and speed up the video, so that way you don't have to sit here and watch me this entire time. As you can see, I have a few things. I've got my hoop, got my flowers and greenery, I've got a glass of ice water, and that's not for drinking, it's for if I burn myself on with the hot glue. I stick my finger in there, because if you've never used a hot glue gun, it stays hot, the glue stays hot for a really long time on your hand. So I always use that, because I've burned myself very nicely in the past. So what we're going to do, let's see, that's heating up. Okay. That probably wasn't the best idea for me to just touch the end of the glue gun like that, but it wasn't very hot and I knew it. So what we're going to do first is we're going to design what we would like to see. So what we're always going to do is we're always going to start with some greenery. You want to decide whether or not you want this little screw, if you want that to show. I really don't want mine to show, so I'm going to cover it with the greens and the flowers. So what you start doing is you just kind of start laying stuff down, and if you notice, you can bend your flowers because they have wire in it, and so you want to get them to kind of follow the curve of your hoop. I generally lay down my greenery first. Actually, probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down this kind of fuzzy greenery, which I love. So I'm going to go like that. Then I'm going to start sticking this stuff in. And like I said, I'm not even, I'm not gluing this. I'm just putting it in to see if I like it or not. Because I might get all this stuff in and just be like, oh, that looks terrible. But that's good because then you can change it. So what you're doing here is you're kind of building. And so mine comes down like this. I like it all going to one side. And see, this is where we're going to find that we need to trim some of our stems, and that's fine. So decide where you want your flowers. And in general, on these, in these fake flowers, faux flowers, whatever you want to call them, there's usually some large and small blooms. So just decide where you want your blooms to be. And really, all of this is up to you. Just keep moving things around until you like what you see. All right, once you've finished, basically what you want to do, you want to mess around a little bit with the leaves. Like I said, generally they bend because there's wire. They're made with wire, so that's pretty helpful. Cut off anything you don't like. Try and pull off something that you don't like. That's fine. And let's see, do I have anything else I need to say? I'm going to hang mine up with a command hook. You can use a wreath hook. And basically that's about it. I think we're done. So I hope you're really happy with how yours came out. I really like how mine came out. And you guys have a great day.